I am every woman and every man. I am every voice that never spoke. I am the sounds of nails scratching down the blackboard of this life. I am the people you don't see, the ones you don't want to see, and I am the screams you don't want to hear. I am the fists that beat against the walls of this life, of your home, begging someone to see me, begging someone to care. I'm so tired of being lonely, so tired of being alone. I am poverty, I am homelessness, I am hungry. I am what happens when good people have no options. When this thing we call progress runs over the souls it was meant to save. When the very voices that should be raised are silenced. I am every single mother, high school washout, latchkey kid, welfare bum, and Indian. I am the stereotype, a decision you made to ignore. It is easier to believe that I am useless, that I am the problem, that there is nothing redeemable in me, instead of looking in a mirror. When will you look in the mirror? When will you see that I am not the problem? Once I looked just like you. I played in your playgrounds. I attended your schools. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to fly and soar through the clouds. The guidance counselor laughs. With grades like yours, you'll be lucky to graduate, she smirks. I want to cry and scream. My dreams are not fodder for your superiority. They were blankets to keep me warm. On nights that went on forever in one-bedroom apartments where the police arrived to stop the screaming next door. They kept me warm when I waited for that 1 hour I saw my mother, when she brought food to keep me alive between Where were you when they decided that part-time was good enough, so no one needed benefits? When unemployment told her with smiles on their faces as they sit in warm office that they couldn't help her? When workers told her she needed an address before she could hope for welfare? Don't you think that if we had an address, we would have been there? It was 7 years of loneliness, waiting for a day where I could stand on my own and get out of that place. When I could go to the doctor and not have to ask for free samples of medication. Because while healthcare is free, medicine isn't. And until I end up in the hospital, they'll turn me away. It was the shame we felt each time we arrived at the soup kitchen. It was believing in hope until that night. Believe that someday we would be more than the sum of our parts, and that the listlessness that holds a body hostage when there's no fear like giving up. I am the heartbreak on a mother's face when she's propositioned in front of her 14-year-old daughter on the street and she hesitates. She considers if her morals are more important than the hunger on her children's faces. And what will that teach her daughter? And what will that teach her son? She wonders if she has the strength to say no or if it's selfishness. He adds it's the oldest job out there, and she screams agony to the world. For what kind of world do we live in where the oldest job out there is the one that strips a woman of her dignity and forces a person to submit to a monster? When one woman considers living in a hell to save another, what kind of a world is she giving her children? What kind of a life is that living? When the raised hand of this beat-up world is the best that we can hope for, is the sum of our fears. When the day you say no in the back room is the day the boss gives you a pink slip. Pink. The color of tears, lost hopes, and failed dreams. It is the color they painted my room on the day they took me home. It was the paint they slashed across my soul when they said I'd never make as much, that I would be the reflection of every man's desire. When they told me I would say no and no one would listen. That after they would ask me what was I wearing. They would ask me where I was walking. They would look at the color of my skin, the shape of my face, and decide that it was my fault. Decide that the color of my clothes was the color of my heart, and that pink didn't matter. I am the pink of the blood and tears that run in the streets of every woman who said no, every voice that begged for someone to hear her, every scream that was cut off by the weighted, sweaty hand of another's power and control. He throws a $50 bill at her feet with a laugh when he's done and says she got more than she was worth. I want it to be blue. I want it to be the color of the sky I need to feel, the color of the blood that runs through the other's veins. I want to know that my no meant something. That when I looked at this world, I'd be treated as an equal and that others would hear me. But I wasn't, because pink doesn't matter. I'm not asking you what is wrong with this world. I could give you a list that could last into an eternity. I could write you a song that never ends and fills it with all the ways in which evil has arrived. I would load it with every broken dream I ever dreamed before I was told I wasn't good enough. Told I wasn't enough. Told that even though others have rights, that the poor have none, and that the soul in which I was granted was found wanting. The only way I have to fly will be found at the end of a bottle or maybe a needle. If I could put on a cape and tights, I would teach the world what it means to fight. I would find fairness in despair. I would be the beacon that others could follow. I would be the supernova that can only exist in darkness. But there are no heroes here. There are the plodding steps of every soul that screams out, every soul that says it's not right. I will be the voices that reach out, the ones that hear. Those who listen with their hearts and see with their souls will be the single torches in the vastness of what brought together will burn so bright that we will burn the evil out of this place. We will make it be like the stars in the night sky. The darkness will only know the brightness of the coming day, for when all the lights connect, the dawn will come. I'm not asking you what is wrong with your world. I'm not asking you to stay in darkness. I'm asking you to take up a torch.